Hello, ladies and gents, boys and girls, people of all ages, sexualities, and identities, and welcome back to another series review. And today we have She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. So, what is She-Hulk, Attorney at Law about? Well, of course, from looking at the word Hulk, you already have a rough hint of where we're going with this. Jen. Jen is the cousin of Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk. And Jen finds herself caught in an accident one day where she ends up getting a little bit of Bruce's DNA on her and becomes none other than her own Hulk. However, what makes her life even more complicated is that Jen is supposed to be an attorney of law. She is a law student trying to become a lawyer who will help people out in court. And what makes it even worse for her is the fact that she needs to win the people over. Over the course of this series, she manages to do this, but the plot becomes a little bit all over the place. So let's stick with the facts of what we do know and what does make sense in this. Jen being Bruce's cousin. Jen being a lawyer. Jen helping out a young chavvy girl who gets abducted and ends up in an incident to do with Wong from Doctor Strange. We'll get into Wong more in the Doctor Strange. Jen finds herself also having to make a case and plead for the Abomination. The Abomination being none other than the one creature who she has despised since the very beginning due to the nature of how he attacked and hurt her cousin. However, she's shocked to learn that halfway through this series, it turns out that the Abomination has made a kind of recovery. Not only has he made a recovery, but to keep himself in a check, he is essentially at a retreat with a bunch of other sort of meta-humans who, if they're not careful, will grow into full-grown beasts. By the end of the series, we learn that Jen's biggest villain in this whole entire series, which personally I feel like is a downplay, is a young lad who's a little bit of a dork, to be honest. Jen then goes off on a tantrum and pretty much breaks through the Marvel cinematic universe, jumps out of a screen, and begins to go marching round Marvel Studios looking for Kevin Feige, who in her version of reality is apparently a giant robot. This completely derails the She-Hulk series itself because it distracts away from the main plot, and when everything does get resolved, we kind of find ourselves in this compromising all over the place situation. Now, this is no fault of Tatiana, who plays Jen in the series. I feel like her performance as She-Hulk is impeccable. However, as her kind of breaking the fourth wall comes out with, I feel like she is absolutely right by the end of this series. Not only do we feel that we are lackluster at the end of it, but we really kind of feel like Jen's character has been pushed to the background and not given enough time to breathe. I mean, it's absolutely insulting personally, especially when, as she said about the whole strong female heroines, we can name a few in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, from Black Widow to the female version of Loki, Enchantress, Ms. Marvel in recent years. I just feel like She-Hulk series was not handled with the greatest of care. I feel like the character itself, I really hope when it comes back and gets its time on screen, whether that's in an Avengers movie or just at like a split cameo somewhere in someone else's movie, I feel like she needs to be given more justice. I love the cameo of Daredevil in her series. I love the fact that Matt Murdock and her, well, what happens behind closed doors with She-Hulk and Daredevil, that's their business. But back to being serious for a sec, I really do feel like there needs to be a redemption arc for She-Hulk. And sadly, for that reason, the She-Hulk series, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next series review. Until then, stay beautiful, you beautiful people.